First, they ask you things like your age and your name and your height and your weight, and I'm rhyming, and yeah.
I am a good boy. Hey, hey ladies. Hey, hey babies. Hey, everybody.
The second type of auditions, these are probably the ones you guys are more familiar with because of how they're publicized. These are the public auditions. Usually public auditions are held on a certain day. These companies advertise it so that everyone knows when it's happening, where it's happening. And these public auditions don't necessarily need you to sign up or register previously. So you would show up to the audition place and you would register on the spot. They ask you to, bring in like a 증명사진. What is 증명사진 in English? A photograph of yourself, just basically. Something like a passport photo, so you could just attach it to your application after you've signed out the form, which is really similar to the private audition application form. You just wait in line. So it's really first come, first serve. Whoever is in line first gets to audition first. Now what they do is they ask you to come in by groups. So usually 5 people at a time, and you go in where there are judges. There'd be like 2 or 3 judges with like pieces of papers looking all stern, like looking at you. And there are cameras just to see what you guys look like through the cameras and the images and whatnot. And they ask you to sing on the spot for 30 seconds. And since there's so many people they need to go over on that day, they don't actually require you to bring in an instrumental. They just ask you to sing on the spot live. And after you sing, they do a rhythm test. And this is a little bizarre to me because it's really weird to think that they would ask you to do this, but they just turn on a random song and you would have to dance or, just kind of like, go with the flow to the music. They just want to know that you can dance or you have the potential to dance. And after they see you and your voice and everything, if they feel like you've got the potential, they ask you to stay behind for a second assessment. So they write your name down, and after the whole audition process is done, those other special people, they would reassess like how they would have done for the private auditions. And some people actually do get chosen like this. JYP, for example, was very known for how they would choose a lot of their trainees like this, and they actually had a competition, which a lot of people you guys know, like 2 p.m., Wonder Girls, 2 a.m., 4 Minutes Hyuna, all of these trainees were picked through that process. So yeah, these are how public auditions are run. If you guys ask me what would be the better choice to make, like which audition would be better, I would say they have pros and cons for both of them. Public auditions are harder to get chosen because it's really hard to show yourself to these people that are judging you in 30 seconds. People need to really get to see you and talk to you for them to know your characteristics and your personalities. So for someone to judge you for just 30 seconds, it's not going to be enough time for them. That's why it's harder for you to get noticed in the public auditions, but it's actually harder in private auditions because it's really hard to get chosen and have them to call you into those auditions, whereas public auditions happen more frequently and there are more chances. So if you weigh these pros and cons out, I would definitely recommend that if you have the urge to, become a K-pop star, to try both of these out. There are actually interesting cases, like for example, Miss A Suzy, she actually got chosen for JYP's trainee because she went to Superstar K, which is like a big public audition, and she was auditioning in line. And one of the JYP casting managers saw her and they were like, oh my god, that girl is so pretty. Like, we need to get that girl in our company. And went up to her and said, do you want to come to JYP? And Suzy being like, oh yeah, no duh, she went. And that's how she became who she is now. You don't know where your chances are lurking, so just keep your eyes open for chances. And who knows, you can be the next Miss A Suzy or IU or yeah. If I were to give you guys any tips for those people who want to apply to these companies from overseas, I would actually recommend that you guys apply for the bigger companies first, because these big companies have experience working with people from overseas because they have artists from overseas in their companies. Companies like SM have experience with Chinese members like Amber, or JYP has Nickun, and by having these experiences, they know how to deal with the legal issues or how they would have to, work out the contracts, and it just makes the process a lot more easier for the people applying. Also, another tip that I could give you guys is I really recommend that you guys don't get too nervous, because Even if you guys mess up the audition, what's the worst thing that could happen? You guys always have the opportunity to try out again, so really just be yourself and show them who you are, and then you won't regret anything. And I definitely think that's the best way to go at it. So those are my tips, and if you guys have any other questions regarding auditioning, please leave them down in the comments below, and I'll be sure to answer them in any way possible. And thank you guys for watching Kpop 101. You guys should be excited for the next episode. So I'm gonna go. Bye. Yeah. 아, 졸려. 아, 협조를 안 해주시네요. I recognize.